Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about how to pay no taxes on your Bitcoin. With special type of retirement accounts, it's possible that you don't have to pay any taxes. I'm going to hop into this in depth through this article that I write first on Thursdays. Before we begin though, I want to give a shout out to Ledn. Ledn is a sponsor of mine. They're the best place to earn a yield on your Bitcoin, so you can earn a percentage yield on your Bitcoin. They lend it out and give you some of those returns, or you can borrow against your Bitcoin using your Bitcoin as collateral. Definitely recommend both. I'm a customer of theirs. Check them out. Link is below. Okay, let's go ahead and hop on in to the article. So I write this first on Thursdays. This is from the Held Report, a newsletter that goes out to 30,000 subscribers. And this topic today is around how not to pay taxes ever on your Bitcoin. And there are ways to do that with retirement accounts. So there are retirement accounts that there's special type of retirement accounts out there, and there's a ton of different type of retirement accounts all over the world. I don't have time to hop into all of those, so I'm just going to cover U.S. retirement accounts. In the U.S., there's a couple different types of retirement accounts. There's 401k, which is through your employer, IRA, and Roth IRA. There's a couple other ones too, but I'm going to skip those for brevity. So IRAs are what I'm going to focus on here because they're outside of your employer and they allow for much more flexible investing. So these were created in 1974 to allow for people to have a kind of more alternatives to their employer retirement account. And when the IRS ruled that Bitcoin is property in 2014, that opened up Bitcoin to be held in IRAs. So these are the two most common IRAs. You've got a traditional IRA where you contribute your pre-tax income. Now, what does that mean? It means you contribute money before you pay taxes on it. And what that does is it reduces your income for that year. Now, later down the road, you do have to pay taxes on it. Whenever you withdraw, it's whatever the tax rate is at that time, which depending on how these are constructed, these rules change a little bit, but 60 plus years on, when you're in retirement, it's whatever the income tax rate is then. Now, the Roth IRA is what I promised you here in this video. This truly allows you to never pay taxes on your Bitcoin. So this is where you contribute post-tax income. This means that you've already paid your income taxes on this income for the year. And when you contribute post-tax income to a Roth IRA, that means that any appreciation of Bitcoin in that Roth IRA is tax-free. No matter how high taxes are when you withdraw it, when you're retired, it is tax-free. So this is the ultimate way to hodl because you can hodl and never pay taxes. Now, there are certain contribution limits and certain income levels that prohibit some individuals from accessing this type of instrument. I'm going to go into that a little bit later. Okay, so when I went about this journey, I'm like, all right, I need to go figure out which provider to go with. I checked out a ton of companies: Bitcoin IRA, iTrust Capital, Alto IRA, and Unchained Capital. I ultimately landed on Choice for a couple different reasons. So Choice is, I think their costs were like super transparent. Like they talked through, and in the chart below here shows some of the different costs and the different types of structures. They're really transparent with how much they charge. A lot of these IRAs, what I found is like as I dug in or signed up, then they would disclose different fees that were pretty egregious, like 5 or 10% transfer fees. So if you transferred, like you're converting your other traditional IRA and you're porting it over, they would charge like 5% of the entire IRA's value. Like that was kind of nuts. And so there was a couple of these hidden fees at the other places that I really didn't like. When it came to custody options, it was really cool and clear, and that's what's below here, of the 3 different ways that you can hold your Bitcoin. And I'll go into those in a second. The last 2 points, process, it was super simple. They've got a mobile app and the transfer process was pretty easy. And the team. I really clicked well with the team. I chatted with a couple of these companies, but with this team in particular, they were just really on point, really sharp, answered all the questions that I had, and never made me feel like I was dumb, or they didn't make me feel like that they were trying to trick me or push me into something. They were just very, very chill and open with the different trade-offs. So they offer 3 different ways to store your Bitcoin when you work with them. InMotion, or this first one, the no annual fee one, they're subsidizing the fee with lending out your Bitcoin. And they're pretty clear about that, but I think for my audience, I want to make sure that that's particularly clear. Now, I think that's interesting because it makes it really, really cheap. However, you are taking on some lending risk there. Cold storage, so this one's got a 1% annual fee charge. This one's stored by Fidelity, super trustworthy custodian. Definitely, I think like this is a great option if you don't want to manage your own private keys. But the third one I think is really cool and core to Bitcoin's ethos, which is self-custody. And you don't have to use Casa, but they've got a special program with Casa set up that makes it a lot easier. So this is the really cool option where you can self-custody your own Bitcoin. I mean, this is pretty sweet. Like, not only is your Bitcoin in a retirement account where it's sheltered from taxes, but you can also self-custody, which means you don't have to trust anyone. You don't have to trust Fidelity or anyone else with your Bitcoin. So this is ultimately what I'm going to go towards. I'm getting that set up right now. So process, I chose self-custody. And then, when you go through and create your account, it took me about 4 minutes. I actually timed it and it only took me about 4 minutes on the mobile app. So you go through, provide all your information. Look, y'all, it's KYC AML. Of course, they're going to know who you are. It's a retirement account. So for those people who are already complaining about those, all the documentation necessary, that's how any retirement account's going to be. Ideally, I would have set up the Roth IRA. The Roth IRA is the way to go, right? Like, no taxes on any price appreciation. However, based on my income level, which it's higher than this is, I'm not going to mention what it is. It's higher than this, and what that means is that I can't contribute to a Roth IRA. But most people have income lower than this, so a Roth IRA would be a pretty cool way to go. So I'm going with a traditional IRA. There's a couple other details here about how much you can contribute per year, and some other details. If you want to, definitely pause this, take a brief read on it. But basically you got to hold it till you're 60. There's some other clauses too, but basically this is a buy and hold. You're not gonna be able to touch this for a long, long time. Transferring the assets took a bit longer than the sign-up process. Now, this isn't necessarily on the fault of Choice. This is primarily on the fault of, I would say, the traditional brokerages. So I had Interactive Brokers and I was transferring my IRA from them. It takes about 2 weeks if you liquidate the assets that were in your IRA, or about 4 weeks if you transfer the assets themselves. The reason why it takes so long is these traditional brokerages, they're losing a client. So they're not exactly going to be, really, really speedy in processing losing a client. So that's why it takes between 2 and 4 weeks. Not really Choice's fault, more of these traditional brokerages. Note that contributions, so your yearly amount of money that you contribute to these programs, the Roth IRA or IRA, just know that you can't contribute Bitcoin directly. You have to contribute dollars, and then you can use those dollars to buy Bitcoin. And this is what the little transfer tracker looks like. That they send you an email update and show you your transfer in progress. Also note, I think a lot of people don't realize, this is a Bitcoin IRA, but you can also own equities, metals, real estate, and other alternative investments. So it doesn't have to be just Bitcoin. I know I'm super into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is basically my entire net worth. However, for most people, they have a spectrum of assets. And so this, they can work with that as well, which is really cool. The team, like I mentioned before, super awesome. They were the first, so their parent company is called Kingdom Trust. They were the first qualified custodian in the United States. That's pretty awesome. So back in 2017, they were the first qualified custodian to custody Bitcoin. They have over 125,000 clients and over $18 billion in custody. They're super top notch. Like I said, like I said before, chatted with them extensively. Really enjoyed really enjoyed them answering all my questions. And it's run by a bunch of Bitcoiners. So if you don't believe me, check out their Twitter profile links. But yeah, their Twitter accounts are pretty funny with being a little bit sarcastic about the existing financial system and very much fit my vibe. Now, this sounds like it's kind of funny when you think about this, but you really need to consider doing this now. And I know you hear this all the time from different folks talking about different products and services, but truly, I regret not doing this earlier. My dad's a tax CPA, and he was like, why didn't you do this years ago when I told you to? He's right. I mean, I would have been able to shelter all of my gains in these certain tax structures. And instead, I just kept delaying the decision. So actually, this is the one thing to where if you're looking at, hey, I need to do something, and you've kind of put it on the back burner. No, this is the thing you need to do right now. And so that's where I totally regret not doing this before. Definitely recommend if you're interested in something like this, spend the time to get it done and get across the finish line now. There's so much gains in Bitcoin that it could have had tax sheltered, but that aren't. For people who are watching this, they hooked me up with a special offer. I don't make any money on this link. This link is basically something that they hooked up my audience with because I was like, hey guys, love you guys, what you're doing. Is there anything you can do for my audience? You get $50 worth of Bitcoin if you sign up. The link is included below, so if you're interested, go check that out. Hope you enjoyed this deep dive of being able to, store Bitcoin in a retirement account and pay no taxes. Definitely check this out. I recommend you check out the other services as well. I personally chose Choice because they're awesome across all those different, all the different spectrum of like what I think a good company does. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like, give me a subscribe. It definitely helps with the algorithm. And see you next time. Cheers. Bye.